Hey guys, what's going on? So I'm back here with another code along. Today we'll be doing a Vue.Js and Flask code along. Specifically, we're going to be using not Folium, we're going to be using Leaflet. We're going to be using Leaflet.js mixed with Flask-socketio to create a interactive map that has real-time updating markers. So when one user is online, he or she can place a marker and whenever like one of the clients places a marker, then all of the clients that are connected to the server will get that marker updated on their map without having to refresh the page or do anything like that. So this is good. You specifically using Flask.io for this is good because in the Flask-socketio, because in the future you guys can use this to create like a geolocation service where you can see markers being updated based on users' positions using geolocation. But I'm not going to be doing that because I don't want any of my information just floating out like that. I don't really know what kind of people are watching this video, but um, yeah, so what I'll show is how a person can click on a map and update their marker that way. And whenever they click, a marker updates. And you guys can use that for different things too. Maybe make a cool game out of it. But yeah, for the geolocation, then you guys should try to update the marker with geolocation. And whenever a person does click on the map and create a marker, everybody else that is connected or online currently viewing the map will get that update where it shows where the person clicked. So it'll be easier if we just get on into it, and maybe I'll show like a little video while I'm explaining this. Like I'll have a cut from the end in the beginning. I don't know, but this is a code along. I just want you guys to see the process of what I do. I have Firefox open. Um, you guys can see what I Google and what I'm searching for, and I also have some reference code on the side, but I'm not going to be showing that because that's one of my personal projects that aren't out yet. But if I do go to the reference code and I ever pull something out, I will explain what's going on because I did write that code, and it's easier for me to look at that than Google a bunch of stuff just to get syntax, because it's been a while since I've done this specific thing. So, yeah, that's all the intro stuff. So let's go ahead and get ready. To start off, we're going to create a new Vue project. So I believe to do a new Vue project, you do Vue create and then the name of the project. So let's just make sure that's true though. Using the Vue CLI. Yep, Vue create hello world. That looks good. So let's go ahead and jump over here and get that started. Oh, I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code to actually like do the coding once the project folder is made. So, where did my concept go? Vue create, and we'll call this real-time markers. Yeah, you guys can call it whatever you want. This is your project, but I'll call it real-time markers so that I have I have what I need. So we're gonna be doing a Vue 3 project, and just start that up, and that should get our project going. See, I'm thinking about this, and ideally we would want Firebase to store user well, I use Firebase to store like do the what is it called? Get the authentication going. Yes, so I use Firebase for the authentication and also their storage to store information like usernames, pictures, things like that. And usually for something like this, I would use a Firebase to store usernames, but in this app, I don't think we're going to need to, mainly because we're not going to be storing anybody's name. We're just going to be doing real-time markers. You guys, in the future, if you do like something like this and want a tutorial-based tutorial-based videos that are going to be more precise, I'll have something written up beforehand. Then let me know in the comment section, and yeah, I'll make something like that. And in that, I'll have all the stuff. In that, I'll even add the Firebase and all that, depending on what you guys want, how this does. But for now, I don't think we're going to be needing to have any usernames or anything like that. Or even if we do, we could probably just well, we'll see. Let's first switch to the folder. cd okay, so once you do that, you'll have your project file created, and then you can change into that directory by doing cd and going into the Realtime-Markers directory, which is the name of the project I just created. Yours will be whatever name you put, so you'll cd into whatever your project is. And you guys can see all your stuff is set up over here, the public and source. One thing I want to say is for this, we're going to be having Vue.Js as the front end, as all the visuals and everything is going to be in JS. And then we're going to have Flask as the server, as the back end. And that's what's going to process our Socket.io stuff. So we're going to need Socket.io client, and we're going to need Flask-socketio. But and we're going to need to be able to serve Vue through Flask. So we're going to do all that. But let's first get just the basic Vue side working. So to get Vue started, and let's make sure that the package has been, everything has been installed properly. Npm run serve. That's the command to get Vue going on your local host. Alright, now that we got it running on localhost, yep, we can go ahead and copy and paste that localhost on port 8080, and we can see that Vue is working just fine. This is what you get as like the first Vue project stuff. Now in this, just it's fine for now. We'll do pure CSS and stuff like that for the styling, and it's not going to be pretty, but ideally you guys would want to get Bootstrap going. Okay. So now we're going to, oh no, that's not right, open folder. We're going to open off our folder where it is. I have mine in my web dev, and then codealongs, and then Realtime-Markers. There we go. And now that we have this open, we can go into source and click app.vue. So the app.vue is the main file for the like Vue templates. This is like the overhead file, and then then we have components, which is where your hello world is coming from, where your where a lot of this. So in here you can see there's not a lot of HTML or anything, right? Everything that we saw when we were in our localhost is coming from the hello world component, which then gets pulled into the template. We import it as a component and then put it into our app.vue template. But we're not going to be needing this, right? I'm just going to delete this right here. And we'll create a new component. And we'll call it header.vue. No, actually, I'm going to call it topbar.vue, because this is going to be like the bar that's up on top, basically, our navigation bar. And if you type /vue, or I think if you just type in view, my autocomplete sets this up for me, where you have styles, script, and template. So if you're doing it in Visual Studio Code, you should have that set up. But yeah, this is what you're going to need to start off the component. And then, just to be sure that everything is working, we're going to import it. So we're not going to import it, we're going to import it as top bar. And instead of hello world, we do top-bar.vue. And then here, oh. and here we can just bring that in, and then we want to pass that. My naming convention might be a problem here. Well, let's change that then to top bar. And that should get us going, but we won't see anything, so let's go ahead just as a test. We'll do h1. So if you just type in h1, you can get I can get the autocomplete going, so I would really suggest getting your environment set up to where you could do the same thing, like have it completes. H1 hello. That should now, when we go to, yep, we see hello. The logo is coming from the app.view. So you have this right here, image alt view logo. That's where that's coming from. We're gonna cut that out and move that to the top bar component. And we're also going to have to resize it to a proper size, but that's going to be within our top bar. So get rid of our test hello, and we're going to create a div. And we're going to just move this on, oh no, on up into the div. I'm gonna get these, whatever. So now we'll have a div component. I want to give it the class top bar. Now we have our div component, so we'll do dot and top. Oh, and then when you want to style your CSS, you could put it into here. I'm going to also put scoped equals true. I think that's how you do it. Alright, back to Google. How to make style scope local. So we want to make it to where when we have some CSS going in the specific component, it doesn't affect every other component. It just affects that local component. So we want to have our CSS scoped. Oh, you just read scoped. Nice. Nice, nice. Okay, so scoped. Is that right? Seems so. And here you can see is scope makes a local style, so it will only affect the this stuff up in here in the component that you're in. Alright. I guess that should be right. Let's see if our project is back up, my localhost. I closed it by accident. That's not good. 8080. Ah, okay, yeah. So also it says that our logo isn't being found, and that's true because we moved this path is wrong. We're going to want to go to the parent and then to the assets instead of just going, to the assets. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so that's good, but I don't. Let me save both files, and there we go. So we have this is actually within the top bar now instead of being in the app.view file, but it's not the right size. And so we have our scope style in here. We're going to do top bar, and for the top bar I want to just get the background to be a certain color, and we'll just do black for now with a 1 alpha so you can see it. There we go. So you guys can see it is in the top bar. The top bar isn't actually up on top yet, but we'll get that going next. But first, the size of the image. So what I like to do, and you guys can just probably do. Hold up, let me see if we could just do that real quick. So there's two ways you guys can do this, and this isn't the way that I like to do it, but I want to see if it will work. Image, just like that, and that should style that image. I don't know how to, I can't remember how to resize images off the top of my head. Yeah. I thought, that's bad, but that'll be fine. Why we have Google? We'll go 250 for now, just to see how it looks. So we, to resize the image, we just set the width and the height to whatever we wanted. We're actually just constraining the width and the height instead of like a transform resize, which they do have that too, but this way is better because it was the first in Google. Oh man, it doesn't look like it resized at all. There is a way where we can get the child from within, but yeah, we won't do it that way anyways. We're going to do top bar image, so I could just reference the class. And if this is a bad way to do it, just let me know in the comments. Still no resize. What the hell? I think it was resizing actually, but it looked like it wasn't resizing. So hold up, I wanna see if this is actually working right. Yeah, it's okay, cool. So you guys can do it this way, where you have the class of the parent. So this is the parent, and then you can just access the tag within the parent by saying image. If this is going to be the only image you have in here, this is a good way to do it. But I don't believe this is going to be my only image in here. So, oh man, I'm going to do it this way. And that should do the same thing. Yep. But this is now only going to affect this one or anywhere else where I put top bar image, and that's pretty useful for me. Now that that's done, I want to make the I want to move it to the left. And to the top. And let's see if that will work. Nope. Okay. Before we get the position of that set up, let's get the top bar set up. So for that, we want to do top equals 0, and I think it's because I have to make the position absolute. But for right now, top equals 0, left equals 0, width equals equals 100%. So that will always take the width of the whole screen. And height is going to be set to a pixel, so it's a constant. We'll do 100 pixels. So it will be double the size of the logo, because the logo's height is 50 pixels. So yeah, for this I'm going to do position absolute, and that puts us right at the top. That makes it to where the position is not dependent on everything else that's in the project, like other divs or anything like that. It won't push it around. Sorry, I had to scratch my leg. So now that that's done, I believe in here relative Nope. There's a specific one that allows us, like that will put it to the top, but is going to put it, it's not in the, it's not actually within the top bar. Or is it? Here, next Google. How to make div on the top left of another div. So this is kind of very similar to what we're doing right here, where it's one thing over another. Over here it says that when you have position absolute, it's based off the body of the whole thing. So anything that, even if it's nested, position absolute will make it to be where it's within, to be where it's in reference to the body. So if it's like position set to 100 pixel, that'll be 100 pixels. Oh, the top of a div set to 100 pixels, it will go down to 100 pixels of the body. At the top of the body. Oh, nice. So if we have position absolute, it actually also goes by the parent object. So it is position absolute. That is what we need. And that should be, yeah, so we're good. And but also we could test that out. By that I mean is if we set the top bar down 100 pixels, will this be still be within the top bar because we have top to 0 and left to 0 of the image. So we could test that real quick. Both are position absolute. So the top bar is the child of the body, and then the image is the child of the top bar. So the top bar should be at 0 pixels from the top of the body, and then the top bar image should be 0 pixels from the top of the top bar. I know it's a little confusing. But to test this out also, we'll just do 100 pixels to make sure that it's within. Yep, perfect. And now that we're done with that, we still have to get the top bar image to be perfectly aligned. So right now it's at the top, but I actually don't want it at the top over here. I want it in the middle. So we'll do that next. So the image that's being the image that's being centered will be this one. I think the frame is the outside thing. Where's the frame? Okay, because the frame has vertical align middle and then text align center. I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it within the image. Let's see. I don't think this will work if the top bar is absolute. So let's see. Comment that out. Comment that out. Inline. What was it again? Display inline block. See if that does it. Huh, nope. This will be easier. I've searched this before so many times, but just does not stick. Because there's different ways you can do it. This is close. Well, that's a bad way to do it. This is what we need probably. This is still not right, because when you do top 50%, you're actually going to the 50% of this, and margin top is like kind of doing the offset for you. But we want it to be in the middle. We don't want it to be at the top over here. That's not going to be right. This is another way to do it, where you set the top to 50% and then change the transform. We could do it that way, just for the picture. This is the way I want to do it. Display flex, that's it. So over here in the top bar, instead of inline block, we're going to do flex and align content center. It's not content, it's items. I believe that's what it was. Yeah, align item center, and then we can get rid of that. Let's see what happens now. Alright, cool. So we're on the left and we have it perfectly up and down. That's what we want. And as a test, let's move this down 100 pixels and hope everything still stays the same. That way we can kind of move the top bar however we want it and the inside contents won't be affected. So we'll leave it like that. And the sad part is all this stuff that we're doing actually doesn't matter. Doesn't have anything to do with what we actually have to do, which is now get the leaflet map set up. But it's cool to just kind of get warmed up. And everything needs a top bar. I think it's a little too big. We'll move it down to 75 pixels. That looks more right. I still feel like the logo itself is a little too big. But yeah, I'm going to change the color of it to something more like what I feel like looking at. You guys obviously can do whatever you want, and I would urge you to do so, because I usually just pick colors that feel good to my eyes in the moment, and then I go through and redesign everything, like change the colors how I want them to look. I kind of flesh out the idea in a rough way and then go back, and I make sure I use like really weird colors sometimes just so I know what I have to change. But usually you can see what you have to change anyways. Okay. And then I also want margin left 25 pixels. Hopefully that will move it. Yep. So it's like right in the center right here. It's you get, and then I'm going to add another thing as well, which is the name of the app. That should also be like right centered perfectly. And then, oh man, if I had Bootstrap, I could just do margin left and add 2, and that'll push it. But because I don't have Bootstrap, I'm going to have to do this. So Bootstrap does make life easier. And just like, it's just annoying having to write like 3 lines just to do something so simple. Oh, I actually don't. I could just do margin left over here to be this, and a margin right. You might be thinking, whoa, you just wrote a bunch more. No, I don't mind writing 3 extra lines. I mind the space 3 extra lines take in the code, because when code gets really long, it's rough. Yeah, so we got our thing set up, at least like our rough thing set up. I really hate the colors, and that's going to be a problem in my eyes. So yeah, that's not bad. Well, whatever, we'll leave it like that for now. I also actually why do I do this to myself? I should change all the text right here. I thought I would have to write a whole nother thing. I would have to write the H1 class for the color. You can just add color white into the top bar, and then anything that is any like text within the top bar will be white. So that's perfect. That's kind of something I like more visually. I hope Vue doesn't mind me using this logo. I mean, it's part of their. It was in their test project, so I hope they don't mind. But I crap. I really don't want to use that logo anymore. This is a Vue project. They understand this is, I'm not like, this isn't made for anything. I'm just for it's just to help people out. If they want me to take the video down, I'll take it down. Who cares? I care, but whatever. Okay, so we have the real-time markers and top bar and everything. Using the Vue logo. Remember, this is just a, do not use this logo, and if you're developing and actually trying to put this out and make money from some idea that you have, don't use the Vue logo. Vue has nothing to do with, like, I'm just using Vue. They haven't told me to use their logo or anything like that. Nothing like that. I'm just using the Vue.js test stuff. All right, back to it. Now we want to import the leaflet. I'm having a big problem with this Vue logo thing right here. I don't want to use it because I don't want there to be whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Now we're going to get the leaflet stuff up. And for that, right off the bat, I'm going to need to well, set up leaflet. And let's just do Google for it. I have used Leaflet already. I know how to do a lot of the stuff in it, but yeah, it's not like fresh where I just know how to do it off the top of my head. I actually don't have Leaflet because I don't have it in this yet. I just have to do an npm install for it because I rather do it that way, npm install leaflet. So we're going to copy this, or just type in npm install leaflet into the directory that the project is in. So mine was called Realtime-Markers. I'm in that directory right now. I'm just going to paste npm install leaflet, and that should install it into my into the, what is it, the node modules or whatever. So yeah, so one package has been added, and that's good. Now that we have leaflet there, we can oh, by the way, since I stopped the the Vue.js running, when you refresh it won't be here. So we have to make sure to do npm serve again. But it's not too bad though. Now I'm just going to look at my reference code real quick because I have getting leaflet set up is actually not bad at all. It's a few lines, but I don't have it. I don't want to do a bunch of Googling to get those few lines, and I don't have them memorized. Alright, so the normal way to do leaflet imports is actually just doing import L from leaflet, but we also need to import the leaflet CSS, right? So we're going to go to app.view, and now that we have leaflet set up, like we have an npm installed, we go to main.js and we have to import the leaflet CSS. And we do that by doing leaflet, which is going to be in our node modules now. So we could just do leaflet dist and then leaflet CSS. And that should get it. I don't know why I didn't autocomplete, but that should get us it. Dist leaflet.css. Yep, it's right there. So that's we have it imported now into our project. We could just do that, and so the CSS is there, but we still need to import the leaflet actual leaflet like JavaScript stuff. Where did my Okay, so we're gonna close up the node modules folder if you opened it up. Let's close that, and then so we have a component for the top bar. I was just thinking we could put this right into the app.view, but I want to keep it clean, so we'll create a new component, and we'll call it map.view, and that will be our leaflet map. That will be like everything what we're going to be coding mainly is going to be in this map.view file. All of our socketio stuff will also be there, except like maybe the initial connect, which we'll put in the app.view. But for now, yeah. And in this, as a test, I always do just a h1 with a hello, just to make sure that the import is working when I have it, like the thing when I have it going from the app.view. I keep wanting to say render template, but we're not using like the router in this project, and we don't really need to. So yeah, we're just going to be using the components, even though they're not the same. But I personally like to have like separate pages for complex tasks instead of components. if it's like a whole page type of thing and just have the top bar displaying um, as a component that can be on each separate route. But whatever. So components, no. I don't know why that's there, but we don't need any of that. Just hello. And then we want to go to our app.view, and just like we added the top bar, now you want to add map, but that's not going to work. I might have to change the name as well. I don't know yet, because we have to also import it. We're just gonna copy this line right here and change this part to map. Okay, and then over here we have the top bar right here, and we want map to be right here. And so that now this should work, but there might still be one issue. Let's see. Oh yeah. npm run serve to get the project running again. Whoa there. Oh. Sometimes this happens and I just have to restart that. And then I also have to, I'm gonna have to close Visual Studio Code and reopen it, which is always really annoying. Yeah. And then I just have to reopen it. I don't really understand why it does that, but that's fine. So now we have npm running again. So we can go and refresh this page, and there we go, Realtime-Markers. But the problem is we're not seeing hello world. Well, we're not seeing hello at all, right? We have hello written right here, but it's not actually being run. We're not seeing it. It's because our top bar is covering it. So at least that's what I'm hoping. If I have that commented out, we should see a hello. What? But the map component is being used right here. Huh. Why is that? I'm gonna change the name to map box. Just because I want to see if this is a name convention issue, where map is like a keyword that can't be used or something like that. Because we're definitely using it. Yeah, that was it. Map can't just be called map. So let's uncomment out the top bar stuff as well. The top bar import, the component, and on the template. And yeah, so the top bar is covering hello, but before it actually wasn't working. Now we do see hello, which is good, but it's not kind of set up right. And I don't want the top bar to be covering the hello like that, so we're gonna just add some CSS for the map box. So we're gonna set the top of the map box to the height of the top bar, so that will be right when the top bar ends. The top bar is 75 pixels. We want the map box's the top bar's height is 75 pixels, so we want the map box's top to be 75 pixels, and that way it should be aligned perfectly. And no, it's not. That's great. We'll write position absolute and see if that changes things for us. It doesn't. me see the background. So I'm just gonna set the background to black because that's usually what I do when I wanna see how the CSS is being like changed. And look at that, no update is happening. Ah, of course, this is not actually a this is not a class. There's no class attached to this. So let's add a class. Why is it past that? Of mapbox. And now things should be working better. Yeah, look at that. Nice. Now we're centered at the top. Maybe I don't even need that now. Probably not, huh? There we go. We're centered at the top, but it's definitely not the way that it should be normally, but it's fine. The reason why the hello is over here and before it was being centered is because of the text align in the add app ID. So yeah, this is for ID and then this is for classes. But yeah. So now our hello is in the map box. The map box is aligned properly with the with the thing, right? But there's a problem because it's not actually aligned with the bottom. It won't it might go off the screen. We don't want it to be going off the screen. So I'm gonna go ahead and put background black again, and then I really don't have to be. I could just do that. And then top is going to be 75, but I still need to add the width 100%, and I need to add the height. Which now the height is the actual problem, because if I could do something like 100% minus 75 pixels, that would be great. That would work perfectly. You know what I mean? But I can't. So I have to set right to 0. Now the width is aligned perfectly. The top is not. It's strange. It should be at 75. Anyways, let's set the height real quick to 100%. And when you see that, we have scrolling. It is the 100% of the screen, but it's not minusing the real-time marker top. And also, this is wrong, actually. It's not 75. It should be 50, I guess. 50 has us aligned pretty well. Let's do 54. If you guys know a better way to do this, I would love to hear it, because this is really annoying. I hate having to just guesstimate how to align everything. So like 50 seems to be the way to go. 50 for the top, and if I could just do minus 50 pixels, how nice would that be? But it doesn't work that way. So for that, we're going to do, and even then, it's really not perfect, because as people are going to, on different screens, it's going to be different. But anyways, we're going to set the height to 95%, and we'll slowly move it down until we don't have to scroll a bunch. It's not right. I'm going to go to 75. Too much. 85. We're getting there. 90. We're very close. $89, we're under. Yeah, so 89.5 is the one for this. But if I change the screen, like height or anything like that, you know, we're still, it kinda adjusts for it, but still not perfect. And I hate that. That's why I like Bootstrap. It makes things a little bit easier when it comes to setting this up. But for now, this is good enough, right? Right? But yeah. Honestly, now that I think about it a little more, the height should be a constant anyways. So it should be a constant, and then you should change it through the media queries. Because we're gonna have buttons within this. We're gonna have like a whole interface inside, and having that adjust with the screen is going to be quite annoying actually. So we're gonna change this to a constant like rem, and that's going to be way too much. Oh, very close, very close. I guess 38 rem's perfect. And then when you scroll down now, it's not going to, like, it doesn't cut. It still stays that specific length, which is good. But when you go left and right, it will cut down, and that's also good. And hello is in the center, which is also great. Now let's move on to the leaflet part. We already have the leaflet CSS installed. Now we have the map box set up to have the proper dimensions and all that, and is in the proper place. So we can now go to the map.view component, and here we're going to do import L as leaflet. I believe that should be good enough. Let me make sure in my reference code. And yeah, L is the normal thing they use. It's not as leaflet, it's from. This isn't Python. Come on. Sorry. Yeah, that's good. L is actually the way that Leaflet has it in the documentation to import L from Leaflet. So I just follow that. As decent. Now within this, we want to do a return. No, we want to do a data. And within data, we're going to basically have most of our variables, right? So we do data, and then we do return, and we'll have like my map. When we import, we'll have leaflet stored as my map, but for right now, we'll have it as null, right? So we have the data, and then we also want to have the mounted, which is where all the function, which is where like data is where your variables are, and it returns your variables. Mounted fires whenever the component is rendered. So in the beginning, it will fire once. If you are into Unity, it's the start function basically. But sorry, got a burp. All right, mounted, and within mounted is where we'll have our connections and do all that stuff. But for right now, I just want to have it set up. So we'll have mounted, and now in mounted we can call functions, but we need a place to have our functions, and we're gonna call it methods. But I don't think methods is a function like mounted is actually. Yeah, there we go. And this methods right here will have all of our functions, and one of the functions will be start. One of our functions, which is going to be the function that gets our leaflet stuff set up in the beginning, is going to be called start leaflet graph. Yeah. So we have a function right here, and I'm just going to do a alert to make sure that the function is being called in the whenever we refresh the page or whenever we first start the page. And to call functions, we actually have to do this dot because we're referring to this this right here. I don't. I don't know the exact terminology off the top of my head for why we're doing this dot, but like yeah, my bad. Okay. Oh, so we don't have to do the we have because this is going to be like a list of stuff, list of different variables, all that. That is true, my friend. L is defined and never used. So we'll just comment that out for now. And yeah, nice. We get our pop-up right off the bat, and we click OK, our alert pop-up, and it says start leaflet graph, and it comes whenever we refresh the page because the component is loaded whenever we refresh the page. When we say this, we're referring to the component, the variables within the component, I'm pretty sure, and or the app or whatever. And then yeah, that's pretty good. Now now that we have this setup, we need a div that actually represents the leaflet graph. Right now, it's just going to be an empty div, but through JavaScript, we'll add the leaflet map to it, the interactive map. And we're gonna give this an ID of leaflet map. Yes. Let me make sure that this is right in my reference code. Yeah, that looks good. Now that we have the ID, we want to now set up the leaflet map. And over here, we're going to go to Google where we saw how to set up the leaflet map to begin with. To do that, we have it right here. We're going to we'll just copy this over. This is perfect. We're going to replace the alert with our new stuff, right? But instead of saying bar map equals, we're going to say this.myMap equals l.map. That way we can reference my map in other functions and everything, and we don't have a problem. And this should set up something, and then we have to change right here where it says map, we have to add the ID of our div that should have the map in it, which is going to be leaflet map, which we made up here. Now let's see what's going on. L is not defined. You're right, sir. You're right. L is not defined now. Okay, so let's uncomment the import for the leaflet. And we're not seeing anything. Why is that? What's going on, right? And also, it messed up our thing. Wow. It's not perfectly aligned anymore. Interesting stuff. Riveting stuff, actually. So let's, I'm going to go to the app, and I'm just going to comment out the top bar for now. It's because once we get the map set up, we can bring in the top bar really easily. I just want to see what's going on with the map, and why did it change alignment on me? Okay, but okay, that's fine. You do you, map. I'm also, just in case I'm wrong, I'm gonna add a class to this and see, maybe this is for class too. Yeah, okay, it's actually for the class. So you have to have class, not the ID, but you have to have class equals leaflet map, and then have the leaflet map, or class equals whatever you want the map container to be, and then add the name of the class that you gave the map container to this part right here of l.map, right? A little confusing, but good to go. Now you'll notice that even though we have the plus minus and it says leaflet right here, there's no map. There's no map because we have no tiles assigned yet. Well, the tiles are actually what's going to give us the look of the map and all that. And for the tiles, and that's also one of the reasons why it's good to have your variable up on top, because then you could change the tiles based on like different if people want to change colors and stuff, you can have different tiles. It's pretty cool. Alright, I'm going to go to my reference code to where I have the tile stuff, because there's a bunch of different ways you can do tiles. Actually, I'm going to go to Google. And what we're going to Google is leaflet tiles. The tiles we're going to be using are going to be from the OpenStreetMap, which is right here. So we're going to do just like that. Just copy that over. Okay, that's not right. Okay, and let me check the syntax real quick. All right, so to add these tiles, the tile layer, we do all right. So that should be good, and then we're just going to do dot add to, and we're going to do this dot my map. And this tile layer, which is the OpenStreetMap tile layer, gotten from, and we give it the copyright that it deserves, right? We add it to this map, and in the future, you guys can change the tile layer because there's a bunch of them. You know what I mean? Some of the cooler ones are right here. Open2Map. This is a cool tile layer. Realistically, you could use whichever one you want. This is the night mode one from someplace, and this is also cool. You know, there's a bunch of tiles out there. You guys can pick whichever one. I'm just going for the default for this, which is this one for me. And in some of them, you have to set up like an API code and, you know, set up an account, but it's worth it. Tiles are cool. Wait, let's see if it's working before I say all this. Mix spaces and tabs. Where? Mixed spaces and tabs. What did I do? Where do I go? I haven't seen that error before. That's a little interesting. Ah, maybe? What the heck just happened? Okay, so I'm no longer getting mixed whatever and whatever, but my map is no longer there either. So let me just comment this out and let me look. What happened? Things were literally just working. I'm gonna change this back. What is going on? Okay, let me see why this is acting so weird. Oh, it does have to be ID. I had it right the first time. Oh my god. But you gotta refresh the page. It doesn't automatically refresh. Interesting. So you do need the ID. I'm gonna leave both ID and class like that because I'm getting annoyed of having to keep switching between those two. So now we have our map right here. Let's uncommented the tile layers. Let's see if the tile layers are working. Yes, awesome. We have our map. It's up and beautiful. I like it. All right. Somewhere in London. All right. Well, now that we have, so you see we have our map set up. And it's basically just these couple of lines and you have a really nice interactive map. In this map, and like for your guys' own stuff, you guys can use geolocation and all of that to make markers actually update to the geolocation, which is pretty cool. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to do it. What we're going to do is basically, like, if I want to press on Great Waltham, I want to be able to click on it and create a marker over there. A problem that was going to happen is whenever we click to drag, it might create a marker. That might happen, but I'm okay with that. Or I might just create a button over here on the side that says create marker. You click it, create a marker, and you're good to go. But yeah, this is how you get a map working in Leaflet, though. It's pretty nice. The funny part is we still haven't even done the Flask side of things yet. We haven't even done the Flask-socketio yet. But we're gonna get there. No worries, no worries. I want to see how long my recording is, though. I'm at an hour in, and we got Leaflet working. We could have done it a lot faster. But it's cool. I'm going to stop this recording, and I'm going to continue right here. And we'll move on to, we'll also fix the style a little bit, get the top bar back in, and then we'll continue our journey. Alright, I'll be right back.